Hey everyone. So I'm going to be going through a few of the workbook questions from lesson 5. All right, so here we have the first one, and we're asked to simplify the following expression. So there's a few ways you could do this. The way that the course wants you to think about it is it wants you to take this fraction and break it into two separate pieces. So we're going to be filling in an answer for this blank 1 and this blank 2. So for blank 1, if I think, well, 60 divided by 6 is 10, right? So this is me working on blank 1. If I have 60 divided by -6, that's going to give me 10. And if I take 60 and subtract it from if I take 60 and subtract it from 102, I'm going to get 42, and that's still over 6. And I'm going to add them together. And if I think about it, if I were to add both of these fractions together, my denominator stays the same. And if I have 60 plus 42, I'm going to get 102. So this is one way we can break apart that top expression. And then for blank 2, we want to know what this actually equals. So if I were to solve this, right, this would give me -10 plus -7, which means that my answer for blank 2 should be -17. So again, this is blank 1, and this is blank 2. Alrighty, this problem here, we want to know which solution is correct. We're asked to simplify the expression 126 over 14. So this is one of those times where having a calculator is super handy. So if I take that 126 and I divide it by 14 just to check and see what my answer is, I get a 9. Right, so here I have 9. And if I look at all my answer choices, only one of them actually has a 9. This is the only answer choice. Whoops. Sorry. This is the only answer choice that actually has that 9 written on it, right? Which means that this is the only correct answer, because regardless of whatever they do in any of these other problems, none of those have the right final answer. So it can't be 8, can't be 18, and it's not 1 and 9/14. The next question asks if Ashish simplified this equation correctly, and it says that he decides to apply the distributive property, okay, to this expression. So we have 2.8, oops, let me erase that, plus 7.2 times 4.4 on the outside. So remember, with distribution, you take the number on the outside and multiply it to everything that's inside. Okay, so I'm going to pull open my calculator and do that really quickly again. And let's just double check it. So if I have 2.8 times 4.4 and 7.2 times 4.4, I'm going to get 12.32 and 31.68. So I have 12.32 plus 31.68. And if I look here, that's the same thing he got as well. So that's good. So far he's doing pretty good. And then now we just have to add those together. So 3.32 plus 31.68. And it gives me 44, which also is the expression that he got. So, yes, he's correct. And he's correct because he applied the distributive property correctly. Correct, because he applied the distributive property correctly. So it is correct, because this does equal 44, which is what he got. All right, the next one. So here we have Tomas, and he's performing this whole problem here. He's given this kind of complicated question, and this is how he solved it. So we're going to be answering a part A and a part B, and we want to know where he made his mistake. If we look here, it says that he made his mistake on line 3. He incorrectly applied the commutative property of multiplication. So let's check this. This would be for part A. Okay. Now, if I look here, he's going from 3 and 1/8 times 8 over 3, and then he's putting this in parentheses. When I look at this line right here, somehow he goes from this fraction of 3 and 1/8 to 1 and 3/8. Now these two are not the same at all. They're not equivalent, right? This is like having a little bit more than 3 pizzas, and this is having less than 1.5. So since these two fractions are not the same, that means, well, his mistake was in line 3 because he didn't apply the commutative property correctly. Part B wants us to find the actual result of the expressions. This is part B. Wants us to find the actual result of the expression. So to do that, I'm actually going to type in this original one way up here because I don't want to use any of these more simpler ones because they might have a mistake in them, right? He made a mistake here, there might be another mistake. So we're going to use the original expression. So I'm going to type in 3 and 1/8, and I'm going to divide that by 3 over 8 in my calculator. And I'll walk you through how to do that on the Desmos one that we use all the time. Okay, so I'm going to do the first part. I have 3, I'm going to put a space, and then 1 over 8. Okay, now to get this whole thing with a fraction line on the bottom, I'm going to highlight this whole thing and hit divided by. Okay, so I'll do that one more time. I'm going to highlight this whole fraction, my whole fraction, and hit this division symbol. Now once I'm in my denominator now, I'm going to hit my fraction button and do 3 over 8. And it tells me that my answer is going to be 8.3 repeating. I can convert it to a improper fraction, which is 25 over 3. 3 goes into 25 8 times, and 1 is left over. So for part B, you should have 8 and 1/3. 8 and 1/3. The next problem is asking us which one of these expressions has the greatest value. Well, the easiest way to do this is to just plug all of these into a calculator and see which one really does give you the greatest value. Okay, so to do that again, I'm going to bring over my calculator and let's do all these. So I'm going to start with A. I have negative, I'm going to use a parentheses, 8 minus 2, and have 0.2 on the outside. Now you'll notice when I type these in, I'm typing them exactly how they look. So if there's a parenthesis, I'm putting the parenthesis. If there's a negative, I'm putting the negative. Our next one is 5.5, all divided by, we have 1.6 times 1.4. Oops, 0.4. There we go. Let's go over to C. I have 3, I'm going to do space 1 over 3, and again, to make this whole thing in my numerator, I'm going to highlight it and then hit that division symbol. I have 1 space 1 over 3 minus 2 over 3. There's that one. And then let's do this very last one, 2 over 5. I'm going to use my parenthesis, 3 over 5 plus 6, close my parenthesis and hit enter. Alright, so if I look at all of these different expressions, it looks like this 5 is the greatest out of all of these. So this funky looking fraction one has the greatest value. So this fraction one has the greatest value. This one's equal to 5. Alrighty. On to the next one. An arcade is open for 10.5 hours daily. The arcade keeps 4 attendants on duty at all times, and each attendant's shift is 5.25 hours long. Which statement best explains how many total shifts are scheduled each day at the arcade? Okay. Well, before we read through all of these, let's kind of think about just basic how we would solve this on our own. I know that the arcade is open for 10.5 hours every day, and there's 4 attendants on duty at all times. Each attendance shift is 5.25 hours long. Okay, so well, if the arcade's open for 10.5 hours and each of those shifts is open for 5.25 hours long, then that tells me that there's probably going to be 2 shifts per day, right? If I take that 5.25, if I multiply that by 2, I'm going to get 10.5, which is how long the arcade is open for each day. So if there's 2 shifts at the arcade and there's 4 people on duty at all times, if, if there's 2 shifts, 4 people on duty, if I take that 4 and multiply it by 2, that's going to tell me I'm going to have 8 attendants all day. Right, so I'm going to have 8 people on duty all day. So if I look through these answer choices, this one says 16, 8, and 13.78. So this answer right here is the one I want to choose with this 10.5 over 5.25 because that is how many attendants are needed at the arcade each day. Alrighty, and that's all I got. So if you have any questions, let me know. Remember that I do have open sessions. My open sessions are Monday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Okay, and to join those, just go to the conference tab and hit join. Come in anytime if you have questions or want me to work through a checkpoint question, workbook question, whatever you need. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.